Hello there, welcome to Doctor Who Radio Show. That's the way it goes. And with me is
Slugcorp,
one of, hopefully, several co-presenters in this ultra brilliant Power of Who fans episode. This is a review and a preview from Slugcorp's point of view of The Power of Three, the fourth episode in Season 7A, i.e. Part 1 of Season 7, and written by Chris Chibnall, who previously wrote the episode 42, Hungry Earth, and also a couple of episodes ago, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. So what did you make of all the hype so far, in terms of what you expect to see rather than what you have seen, in my case?
Well, I have been ignoring the hype because basically, so far this season, we have gotten so many confusing episodes that don't really make sense. And so whatever hype I'm getting, I'm ignoring because I want to judge the episode itself and not think, oh, this is going to be a great episode just because of all the hype.
Have you seen any of the trailers?
Yeah, but I forgot them because, well, I'm ignoring the hype.
Yeah, I have to say that they haven't been that spoilerific, although the Doctor Who websites like Doctor Who TV, they have been really giving huge spoilers. There's a section where people comment on what they've seen, and you're explicitly asked not to reveal spoilers, and anyone who does is actually kicked off the site.
Oh.
So you're allowed to talk about it without revealing anything you've seen so far. So really, Steven Moffat claiming that people have, ruined it that badly isn't true, because I think people are going out of their way to limit it as much as possible. So this is by Chris Chibnall, and he's written several episodes and had an equal input as Moffat. And I have to say, it's a very good episode, featuring the daughter of Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart, used to be played by the late great Nicholas Courtney. And I have to say, although Gemma Redgrave did a brilliant portrayal of the Brigadier's daughter, even giving some rather clever little infections of how the Brigadier spoke and delivered his words. So she sounds and acts like the Brigadier. She's actually, well, as everybody knows, the new head of unit as the scientific advisor. But apart from that, and one or two rather heartwarming scenes remembering the Brigadier, don't worry everybody, the Brigadier is fondly remembered in this episode. She doesn't actually really play much of a role in the episode itself, which is a little bit odd, really.
Well, let me ask you a question. Did the episode in any way resemble any versions of Star Trek, Star Wars, or any other sci-fi show?
Good question. Well, in this episode, I'm not going to go into too much detail, because actually this character doesn't appear that much at all. Stephen Burkoff plays what's called a Shakri. I'm not entirely sure what they were. They're like agents of this thing called the Tally, I think. Sort of yet another element of time travel. Whether it relates to the mysterious hooded figures that were seen in those iTunes prequels that conveniently kept coming out after the British part of the broadcast was shown. After the British broadcast they conveniently revealed them, and I just think that was kind of unfair to British fans, really, because it was only American. I'm not sure if they're related to the sort of shenanigans with that hooded figure or not, but Stephen Burkoff was rather, as he was, creepy in Stephen Burkoff. And there was a sequence where you're aboard the spaceship, the sort of hubbub of the, whole plan, so to speak, of dispensing these mysterious boxes. And the ship did look a bit Star Trek-y, as we said.
Oh. Well, guess what? Let me go on a rant. Do I have permission to go on a rant real fast?
Yeah, sure. Rant to your heart's content.
I think that this episode is stealing from Star Trek. Okay?
How do you know? You haven't actually seen it.
Well, from what you said, I can gather enough intel to know that this is going to be a good episode because it's taking ideas from other episodes of Star Trek. And the reason it's doing this, I'm sorry, I'm still ranting, is because I think that it was originally going to be called Cube, and things are going to appear out of random, right?
Well, that's the whole mystery of the boxes. They appear. I think Chibnall said that he wanted a traditional invasion story, just like you would have had at the end of the first Doctor's era, during the second and third and fourth eras, but with a twist. It's the same sort of invasion thing that the second Doctor was famous for, but perhaps the MO of the boxes is different. What is their purpose? But there doesn't seem to be one. But obviously, seeing the episode, I know what it is. But there you go.
Oh, okay. Well,
it all makes sense when you get to the end of the episode. Now, another thing, of course, is the inclusion of Mark Williams, his Brian Williams. That's the dad of Rory Williams. And I have to say, I don't know about you, Slugcorp, but I personally rather like Brian Williams.
Well, I like him too. I mean, he's a good actor, as we saw last week, and yeah, I like him.
Well, he's featured so far in Dinosaurs in a Spaceship, on a spaceship, and plopping on a spaceship. But I don't know, it's a bit weird really, because before, in the previous era, the Russell T Davies era, he would have been featured heavily, wouldn't he, I suppose?
Yes, he would. Speaking of Russell T Davies, I think that this episode should have brought back Martha Jones.
Oh, how come?
We're bringing back Unit. We're bringing back the head science director. For God's sake, Steven. Not Steven, your friend. I mean Steven Moffat. Yeah. Bring back Martha Jones. Everyone loves Martha Jones. She's a hero. And we all can admire that. But no. You have to introduce totally new characters that we're not familiar with. And as we all know, David, whenever TV does something we're not familiar with, people lose interest.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's what scares me about the Doctor Who franchise and how it's declining slowly.
How would you say it's declining from new series fans' perception? Because bear in mind, you would have been too young. You would have even been born when I was watching it during the 5th, 6th and 7th Doctor's time.
Well, yes, but I'm sorry to everyone and to you, but Doctor Who's gonna die as a show. Because of Steven Moffat and all the nonsense he's been throwing in. And I swear, if he does another World War II episode, I am going to eat my hat, because that will be the last straw.
One of his first episodes was set in the Second World War, the Empty Shade.
Yeah, exactly, and he keeps repeating the same situation with the Daleks. It's with the new Daleks, Victory of the Daleks. It's World War II. With the Empty Child, it's World War II, but we can forgive him for that because that was his first story. And what else was World War II? Oh yeah, Let's Kill Hitler.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people were happy about that. Yeah.
Locking Hitler in a cupboard I'm locking Hitler in a cupboard. Yeah, I'm getting in the cupboard, Hitler. You know my good friend Slugcorp, my dear Philio. I was thinking after the UK broadcast of Power of Three that essentially, in terms of Steven Moffat's history with Doctor Who so far, first was the step where he was contributing just scripts to the Russell T Davies era, which were actually, oddly enough, his best work. And then he became producer. Season 5 was about the relationship of Amy and Rory pre-wedding, and in this episode you do see them, they do become a married couple. And season 6 was all about their daughter, Melody Pond, i.e. River Song. So this first half of season 7 is like the beginning of the end, as they usually say, of their time with the Doctor. And you won't be surprised, or perhaps you would be, depending on your point of view, I suppose, there are some really good comments about the relationship between Amy, Rory and the Doctor, spinning a totally different perspective on the reason why they constantly travel with the Doctor. Is it really the adventures they're looking for or wanting to return to, or something else? Because it just feels as though really the whole Matt Smith's time so far has been a family unit, if you like. Is there some hidden purpose behind him being with Amelia Pond? You know, has he known something that both of them never knew from the beginning? I mean, what do you think, Slugcorp?
Well, alright, I'm not going to insult Steven Moffat on this one. Okay, I think that Steven Moffat, if he's smart enough, will use the beginning of Amy's timeline to have a great plot twist. And when he has this plot twist, it is going to change Doctor Who history. The people of Britain will lose their mind, because the plot twist that I'm going to explain to you right now is so big, it's huge, if that makes sense. Now, here's the plot twist. Amy will grow too powerful. No wait, that wasn't the plot twist. Okay, so the Doctor is going to be in the TARDIS.
Yes.
And he's going to be sitting in his comfy chair, and he's going to be thinking to himself. Now, he will be having a conversation with himself, and the conversation will be with his dark side. The evil, the horrible Dream Lord will return and capture Amy Pond, kill her, and Roy will be so upset that his wife died that he will avenge her by bravely going in as the last Centurion, having a battle with the Doctor, and mortally wounding him, causing him to regenerate.
Oh, I see.
Yes. Yes. So that's what I think Steven Moffat is getting at. And I hope he is getting at this, because if he isn't, then it's a waste of our time. It really is.
Well, the next episode does feature River Song.
Alright.
The trailer at the end of Power 3 did explicitly show that they will all be united, and there will be many different types of weeping angels. And from the impression, New York, Manhattan, is like a mecca for angels. It's not just simply another place they've inhabited or another time, it's actually a pinpoint in time for them, like a refuge or whatever. Yeah, it's like a stronghold, if you see, just like the Parliament of the Daleks. And there's one particular scene where the Doctor's screaming out, "What do you think you're doing?" So is that just another bit of misleading scene in the trailer, or is it the point where things go deadly?
Well,
and I had to point out here, Power 3 was actually filmed in the series' third production block. Due to this, it was actually the final episode that Killing and Davil filmed as Amy and Rory. Basically, the last scene filmed together was getting into the TARDIS with the Doctor when the doors closed. Gillian, Davil and Smith hugged and started crying. So this, just like the wedding of Sarah Jane Smith, is actually not the last story they appear in, but the last story they actually filmed in production order. That's why David Tennant, in that scene where he's alone in the TARDIS at the end of the wedding of Sarah Jane Smith, looking a bit more less than happy than usual, well, that's because that was his last scene as the Doctor. He just filmed the end of Time, then did that. So I'm presuming they filmed Angels in Manhattan and then did Power 3.
I see.
Maybe that's why they changed the title. The Power 3 referring to Amy, Rory and the Doctor, in the sense that, well, they changed it because a nice tribute to the fact that, well, this was literally the 3's last time to power up.
Steven Moffat is making a mistake, okay? He is getting rid of the most loved characters by children. If you know what I mean. You know what I mean? Like,
that's the whole point of this episode. The Doctor and what Amy and Rory says, you know, they really are part of his timeline as the 11th Doctor. And really, since the regeneration of the 10th, it's been suggested that just like every actor has made the Doctor different, so actually from the Doctor's point of view, you know, every time I regenerate, another young man goes swanning off, you know, i.e. the sense that each new regeneration is a individual within himself, not simply a, you know, another face of the same being.
I see.
And by having Amy and Rory leave, it's diminishing him, perhaps. But how do they die? You know, is it possible that something the Doctor does, mistake or on purpose, causes this destruction? And bear in mind, River Song is making another appearance. Doesn't it seem a bit coincidental that every time River Song reappears, it always seems to be during a period of something eventful, either to the Doctor, Amy or Rory, or, you know, she's like an omen of doom almost, isn't she?
An omen of death.
Yeah, when she returned at the start of season 6, what was one of the first things that happened to the Doctor?
He died.
Yeah.
Well, I think that Steven Moffat is purposely doing this. If we had many adventures with River Song and everything was happy and nice, and then people would lose interest. But Steven Moffat is actually being very clever. He is making her look like this grim, evil Grimm, and I'm not sure what to say. Steven Moffat definitely had something up his sleeve, but I'm not sure how to say.
Well, I think the difference with this series, well, not even over yet really, it's only the first half, is that it's going to be, it has been light on story arcs, because the one criticism of last year was that it was a little bit too complicated maybe, over ambitious to a certain extent. So maybe they've tried to create a story arc that doesn't look like it's connected at all. I'm quite sure some things that never seemed to matter before will seem to matter come the end, the closing traumatic moments of Angels in Manhattan.
Well,
And it's been up and down. That's the only problem really with the story so far. You've had one brilliant story, then you've had not so bad, then you've had another that's missed the mark, and then you had Power 3, which is a really good episode. The only criticism I have is, quite frankly, it's not really an episode about Unit or even the invasion particularly. It's more about the reactions of the Doctor and companions rather than their reactions to the boxes.
oh,
But of course it depends on the person watching. But although I have to admit, everyone, there's this wonderful little narration from Amy Pond, just like she's done in past important episodes. This is the day, this is the year of the mysterious boxes, or something like. No, it's oh fuck it, I don't know. Oh fuck my. This is the year. Oh, Andrew, you prat. A minute. She gives a wonderful, somewhat corny, but always sexy Scottish. This is the year that the Doctor came to stay, or something like that. And the way she said it was so seductive that as she said it, this image came into my head, slowly and seductively. She stroked my cock. That's how it sounded to me. I'm serious. And I'm not joking. After she did her little introduction to the story, and the fact that for once the Doctor actually stays with the Ponds instead of gallivanting off after. There's some big revelations about the perception of time for the Doctor and the Ponds, by the way. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I might do with my next guest. But she's doing that opening little poetry, just like she did on the Beast Below and other things like that. But every time she's done that, it always sounds a little bit corny. But seriously, after that, every time I looked at her 10 minutes or so after, I just wanted to have sex with her. I mean, seriously, I wasn't thinking about the plot. Those boxes might be completely empty and have no life to them, but I did. I mean, she's incredibly gorgeous woman, and that's part of her appeal. Let's face it. So, teenage boys and older guys, they would love to go travelling around the TARDIS, and it wouldn't be the rotor going up and down. Let's put it that way. Well, thank you, Slugcorp, for joining us.
thank you. It's always an honor.
And hope you enjoy Doctor Who.
I do too, and maybe we can do an after review on my part, where I will rant more.
Yes, well, only time will tell. Only time will tell. And that was Slugcorp from New York, who hasn't actually seen the episode Power of 3, but my next guest on Doctor Who Radio Show, Steve Price 666, has. So, what's your first impression, Steve, in the opening minutes of this episode?
Yes, I found it a bit strange, but it's the one that I kept my eyes on all the time. I thought it was a brilliantly written episode. Had some funny scenes in it.
Ah, blimey. Ah, yes, they went back in time. There's this brilliant framing sequence just before the main part of the story, where the Doctor once again tempts Amy and Rory to go back in time to, in effect, have mini adventures, just like you saw in the prequels. One where Amy ends up marrying King Henry VIII. But this is Amy Pond, isn't it? I mean, a randy old git like King Henry VIII would have been lusting after her.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's the whole point, really. Like in the trailer, Rory's saying we have our life and then we have a doctor life. Would you say this episode is like a analysis of that whole thing, going back and forth?
Yeah. Yeah.
Some big revelations really in the episode regarding how Amy and the Doctor perceive things. I mean, they're time travellers, but not necessarily in the same way. Like the fact that for Amy and Rory, 10 years of travels have gone past, even though, going into the wardrobe, you can be there for years and years, but when you come out, it's only like seconds have gone past.
Yeah, yeah. I enjoyed Rory's dad in it. I thought he was absolutely brilliant.
Oh yeah, blimey. Yeah, he's...
Yeah, the actor, I can't think of his name.
Oh, that's Mark Williams playing Brian Williams, oddly enough.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you ever get the distinct feeling they should have perhaps included him before?
Yeah. I thought of that. It was a long time before he was introduced.
Yeah, I don't seem to recall Rory mentioning him too much.
No.
I just feel like when Brian's there, he had a nice sort of, older character. Yeah, older characters do seem to go well with certain doctors, don't they?
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it's just simply because they can perhaps relate a little bit more in terms of years. The fact that he was keeping a diary of the blooming box he'd found.
Yeah. I had to laugh at. I thought that was a funny scene where he was playing the table tennis, like tennis on the Wii. I thought that was very funny.
Well, the whole episode, in a nutshell, is observing the behaviour, very much like the Lodger, what he would be like coexisting with humans for a long period of time, instead of just zapping off like he usually does, picking up Amy and Rory, then dumping them again and then going off on his own. In this case it's the opposite way around. He comes to them and stays for a prolonged period of time.
Yeah. I was hoping that they'd show at the end of the episode how they end up in New York.
Yeah, the Angels take Manhattan.
Yeah.
Oh dear, that's a good trailer though.
Oh yeah.
Because that gives you a distinct feeling that, like I said to Slugcorp, it's not just going to be a case of the samey, Angels. You're going to see an entire a menagerie of angels, if you like.
Is this the last episode now till Christmas, or?
Well, Angels take Manhattan, and then we have to wait till the Christmas special, which you've seen the filming of course.
Yeah.
But as of yet, there's no definitive answer of what it's actually going to be called.
Yeah, because it said something on like the Radio Times. We got like episodes 2 is being shown like 2 or 13, so they've split it up, haven't they?
Yes. Oh yeah, definitely should be a big stonker. But I don't know. I would have thought. I'm a bit surprised we haven't seen any more references to Oswin at all. So presumably, if we don't get any in, is it possible that Oswin might make an appearance in the next episode? Do you think?
Yeah, could do. Yeah.
Because River Song's returning, and like I said to Slugcorp,
Well, when in tonight's episode, that little girl was holding that box. They kept going back to her all the time. I was thinking, is that River Song?
Because River Song's previous regeneration, before she gave up all her regeneration to save the Doctor in Let's Kill Hitler, was actually a black girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, a bit curious. Oh, does seem a bit odd. And once again, what we had, Steve, was a rather nice little nod to past Doctor Who monsters without even them appearing. In that bit where he's taking Roy and Amy for like a delayed anniversary present to a hotel in like the 1800s in France, at the height of their cuisine, and a bloody entire hotel of Zygons. I never expected that in a million years. So that's an adventure in itself that we've never actually seen, isn't it, I suppose?
I do miss the Doctor Who Confidential. I would have liked to see that. Way that was filmed and that,
Well, it's funny you should mention that, because if it had still been made now, then it would have been covering the fact that this was actually, believe it or not, their last story they filmed.
Yeah.
Because one of the scenes that they filmed, the whole episode really, was their last swan song, like I said to Slugcorp again, in the same way that the wedding of Sarah Jane Smith was the 10th Doctor, or rather David Tennant's last story filmed, after the end of time, not before.
Yeah.
This was filmed after Angels Take Manhattan, but would be shown before. In the same way that Peter Davison recorded his first story, Castlevania, later in the filming schedule.
Yeah, it's like Matt Smith, his first when he became the first Doctor, he filmed the Weeping Angels episode.
Oh yes, you're right. I got it wrong. Yeah, that was his first story. Bugger.
Yeah.
Well, you could tell a difference, really, couldn't you, between Four to Doomsday's Fifth Doctor and Castlevania. It seemed more rounder in Castlevania. But with Matt Smith, he must have hit it right on the head, really.
Yeah.
You could tell that the character was far more developed with the Fifth Doctor in his first story, which really it should be the other way around. More confident, that's the word. He's more confident about who the Fifth Doctor and how he wants to play him is.
I think Matt Smith will do a few more years, because I think he seems to be enjoying playing the Doctor.
Yes, yeah. So you don't think he's going to be leaving any time in this series?
No.
Because there had been a suggestion in the press that as a surprise you'd have all the multi-doctors appear, but the Doctor would actually regenerate into a woman or something.
Oh no, I can't see that.
So, if you were a betting man, how many seasons do you think, roughly and realistically, would Mr. Smith do as the 11th?
You just do a bit less than Tom Baker did.
So more of a sort of John Pertwee length of seasons.
Yeah.
Because John Pertwee did, the Three Doctors sort of 10th anniversary, and then I think he left the next year. Same with Peter Davison. He did the 20th, and then he was gone at the end of Caves and Arnie.
Because Patrick Troughton, I heard in an interview with Peter Davison that Troughton said just do 3 years and leave.
Yeah. I suppose, I think it depends, doesn't it, on the actor. I do seem to recall Peter Davison wishing he'd stayed on for a 4th year, but I suppose some actors, pride or something doesn't allow them to stay in a role where they're going to be, pigeonholed forever. Because potentially that can destroy your entire acting career.
Well, just down the road from me as we speak, there's a Doctor Who convention.
Yep.
and Colin Baker, Sylvester McCoy is there. The guy's second in command of the unit is there. The original actor that played Davros is there.
Yeah, Terry Wisher.
Yeah.
Speaking of unit, what was your impression of Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart's daughter, Kate Stewart?
Yes, I found her very good. It's a good tribute to him.
She was actually played by Jenna Redgrave, I believe.
Yeah.
But I just got the impression that they didn't you find the amount of time, screen time with Dr. Eleven and Kate Stewart not as much as perhaps we'd hoped, maybe.
No.
And I noticed she was holding her pockets, holding her hands in her pockets all the time.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this nothing though. But did you notice most of all that Kate was actually speaking with certain mannerisms that you could just imagine Nicholas Courtney's voice talking with?
Yeah.
A bit curious. It was sort of like a pseudo modern version of a unit story. I mean, you could easily swap over certain characters in that, with Benton or Yates, and it wouldn't be that. I've noticed that with unit. I don't think Matt Smith's Doctor is closer to the second Doctor at all. I think he's closer in some respects to the third Doctor.
Yeah.
Oh, what about the actual boxes?
Yeah, they were very strange, they were.
I thought there might be, my theory was that they would be similar to the ones featured in the Doctor's Wives. The Doctor's wife, not wives, although he has been married a few times. But that didn't turn out, which disappointed me. And then there was the strange creature, the Chakra, or whatever it's called. He reminded me of Davros, actually.
Yeah. I know when Rory's dad went on to those porters,
Yes.
They had their faces changed. It reminded me of the Empty Child.
Yeah, that's right. Only the other way around, without the actual face masks, gas masks. I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think Steven Moffat is sort of almost being self-referential in terms of past stories he's made?
Yeah. Who wrote the episode? It wasn't Steven Moffat, was it?
It's Chris Chibnall. He did the Dinosaurs episode as well.
Right.
But as a writer and also as a producer, the showrunner, he would have naturally some input into the story, wouldn't he, I suppose?
Yeah, the alien did look a bit like Davros.
Yeah, just that little speech thing and the way he stooped over a little bit.
Stephen, I can't pronounce his second name.
Dorf or something.
Bo something.
No, I'll keep forgetting him. He's a
I can't pronounce his name. Well, he's been in have you seen Beverly Hills Cop?
Yeah. Oh yes, yeah.
Where they go to raid the house. Well, he's the owner of the house. That's the actor that played him.
He's a close friend of Joan Collins, and he was close to people in the 60s underworld, the Krays and stuff.
Yeah.
That's why he gets so many parts as, sort of gangster, bosses type thing. London type thing. Burkoff, Stephen Burkoff.
Yeah, that's it, yes.
Because my brother actually had acting classes with him years and years ago, yeah?
Yeah.
And he's a fully trained actor, but he comes from the East End, just like my ancestors did. Yeah, from the East End. You've been messing with a shooting act now. I'm going to put several rounds in you, mate. You're not going to like it, my son. Yeah, that sort of thing.
Every part he seems to play is a baddie. He was in Octopussy and all.
Was he?
In the James Bond film. Yeah, yeah. He was the Russian general.
No, that's yeah, that's Octopus. Oh yeah, the one who was trying to basically sell them out, and he gets shot on the train tracks, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
One. But you're right though. He does seem to play a lot of villains, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But in this, he was playing a more alien type creature, who seemed to be in charge of destroying species, and they, like this creature said, he exists in time but doesn't exist in time. So perhaps more close to Time Lords maybe. And it just made me think that hooded creature we'd seen before in the iTunes prequels, as I said to Slugcorp, might have actually have more to do with this creature. Maybe the Doctor's going to turn out to have been getting up to certain things that, you know, will, you know, seriously shed some dubious light on, you know, what he's been doing. And he gave Amy a few strange looks, like he did last time, yeah.
Yeah.
Like that bit where they were talking about the scrubbing at the start of the episode, and he gave Amy this almost look of contempt or something. Do you think the Doctor has known, as I said to Slugcorp, everything about Amy and Rory from the beginning?
Yeah, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Oh. Because that's the impression we've had bit by bit, that his... Oh shit. Maybe him crashing at the start of the 11th hour wasn't accidental at all.
No.
As you said the last time you were co-presenting, Steve, you know, there's an angel that's supposed to appear at the same point when he first arrived in the 11th hour.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I don't know about you, but the Doctor would already know, since he's encountered them as the 10th Doctor, what an angel looked like. And if he... I think even when he's slightly weak after a generation, he's still, you know, really clever. You know what I mean? So perhaps he saw them all along and saw other clues that, you know, time travel sort of paradox was involved. So perhaps he's been picking up clues as he went along, feigning ignorance or surprise. Perhaps he's been using the time scanner again, you know, looking into his own personal future.
Well, they started filming for the 50th anniversary in spring next year.
Yes. That's the next thing we're going to talk about. The 50th anniversary, according to Matt Smith, is going to be filmed in spring. They're coming up with the script now, but as has been pointed out already by Sir Ethel McCoy, according to Dr. Freedom, they haven't actually asked, apparently, any past doctors, which is odd since we were discussing the possibility that they knew more than they were saying.
I think that's all lies. I think that's all lies. You're not... they are going to appear, but they're just saying that. That's
so in the same way that the Doctor may be feigning lack of knowledge, so are we, well, the Doctors. I mean the actors at least.
Yeah.
So every denial, including Sir Ethel McCoy's, and even as Matt Smith lets it out of the bag when they're filming, they know precisely that it's going to start filming soon.
Yeah.
Because if they hadn't started filming by June, they're going to run out of time.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think that your website that tells you where the location filming is actually going to have to conceal that?
Well, somebody's there pointing a camera behind a tree or something, and they see a past Doctor. Well, it's all over the papers, isn't it?
Blimey. Anyway, that's all we have time now for on Doctor Who Radio Show. Thank you to Slugcorp for joining us, and also to
Stephen Price.
And until next time, we will see you for a midweek series of what exactly the Angels will be doing as they take Manhattan.